looks like a nightmare.
I have lacerations to the face and I'm unresponsive.
How'd that happen?
The bus crashed.
Is really no reason to sound the alarms. Over 24 students from high schools in Bourbon County volunteered their school day to play pretend.
We're going to start it as if it is an actual wreck scene. First unit will get on scene. They will have to assess the scene, call it into dispatch as they would in real life, and then from there start treating patients.
Tuesday's mock mass casualty simulation was a multi-car and bus crash, turning students into actors, fully equipped with lifelike makeup to get the full effect.
I got abdominal injuries.
With students playing many different roles, from bus driver to injured passenger.
All of our volunteers have tags that explain what their injuries are. The tags kind of help us distinguish who is injured and who is not injured.
A simulation at this scale has never been done before in Bourbon County, but getting ahead of tense situations can be helpful for everyone involved.
Well, this can be very beneficial for everyone involved. The students are going to get to learn what we do hands-on, and our people are as well. Not all of us have seen these kind of injuries. Some have, some have not. This gives you a good idea of how to train and how to handle those injuries without actually having to have the real injuries.
Giving first responders the preparation that can save lives.
We train for the worst so that we can bring our best.
In Bourbon County, Lucy Bryson, WKYT.